It was Halloween night, and I was 19 living in a small rental house just off campus. My roommates were out at some big costume party, but I'd opted to stay behind. Midterms had drained me, and I just wanted a quiet night with a horror movie marathon and a bowl of popcorn. The house was old, creaky, with a wraparound porch that always caught the wind just right to make it sound like someone was pacing outside. I'd gotten used to it over the months, but that night, it felt different, like the air itself was holding its breath. I was halfway through The Exorcist, sprawled on the couch with the lights off, when I heard the first knock. It was faint, almost polite, coming from the front door. I muted the TV and sat up, straining to listen. Trick-or-treaters, I figured, some late stragglers, even though it was pushing 10 p.m. I grabbed the candy bowl I'd left on the coffee table, just in case, and shuffled to the door. Peeking through the peephole, I saw nothing but the empty porch, the jack-o'-lantern I'd carved earlier flickering weakly in the dark. I shrugged it off, probably kids messing around, and went back to the couch. Not 5 minutes later, it happened again. This time, the knock was louder, more insistent, like someone rapping their knuckles hard against the wood. I paused the movie again, annoyed now. "All right, very funny," I called out, loud enough for anyone outside to hear. I swung the door open, ready to scare off some punks, but the porch was still empty. The wind picked up, rustling the trees across the street, but there wasn't a soul in sight. I stepped out, scanning the yard, the sidewalk, nothing. Just shadows stretching long under the streetlights. Back inside, I locked the door and told myself it was just Halloween nonsense. Maybe the neighbors' kids were pulling a prank, darting behind bushes before I could catch them. I hit play on the movie, turned the volume up a bit, and tried to shake the unease creeping up my spine. But then came the third knock, slow, deliberate, and heavy, like someone was pounding with the side of their fist. It wasn't at the front door this time, though. It was coming from the back, where the kitchen led out to a rickety little deck. I froze, popcorn spilling onto the floor as my hand jerked. The back door was rarely used. We kept it bolted shut because the lock was flimsy, and the deck was half rotted anyway. I grabbed my phone, my heart thudding loud enough to drown out the movie's eerie soundtrack, and crept toward the kitchen. The knocking stopped just as I reached the doorway. Through the glass panel on the door, I could see the deck, bathed in the dim glow of a motion sensor light that kicked on. Empty. No footprints, no shadows, nothing. I was about to turn away when something caught my eye, a faint smear on the glass, like a handprint pressed right at eye level. It hadn't been there before, I was sure of it. My stomach dropped, and I backed up, fumbling with my phone to call my roommate Jake. He didn't answer, probably too drunk or too loud at the party to hear it. I texted him instead, "Someone's messing with the house. Come back ASAP." The next sound wasn't a knock. It was a scrape, slow and grating, like metal dragging across wood. It came from upstairs, right above the living room, my bedroom. I lived alone on the second floor. My roommates' rooms were downstairs. No one should have been up there. I grabbed a kitchen knife, my hands shaking so bad I nearly dropped it, and stood at the bottom of the stairs, staring up into the dark. "Who's there?" I shouted, my voice cracking. "I've got a weapon, and I'll use it." Silence. Then, a low thud like something heavy hitting the floor. My bedroom door was closed when I'd left it that evening, but now I could hear the faint creak of hinges swinging open. I should have run out the front door right then, bolted to a neighbor's house, but my legs wouldn't move. It was like some dumb horror movie cliche. I had to know what was up there. I climbed the stairs, each step groaning under my weight, the knife clutched tight. The hallway was pitch black, the single bulb overhead burned out weeks ago that I'd never bothered to replace. My bedroom door was wide open now, and inside, the faint glow of moonlight spilled through the window. I flipped the light switch, nothing. The power hadn't gone out downstairs, so it didn't make sense. Then I saw it. My desk chair, usually tucked under the desk, was lying on its side in the middle of the room. Next to it, scratched into the hardwood floor, were 3 jagged lines, like claw marks. I stumbled back, my breath hitching, when my phone buzzed in my pocket. It was Jake, on my way. Stay safe. I didn't have time to reply before I heard a voice, low and raspy, coming from the closet. You shouldn't be here. It wasn't loud, wasn't even threatening, just a statement, cold and flat. The closet door was cracked open, just an inch, and I could have sworn I saw something move in the sliver of darkness. I bolted, down the stairs, through the living room, out the front door. I didn't stop until I was halfway down the block, panting under a streetlight. I called 911, babbling about someone in my house, and waited for the cops, my eyes locked on the upstairs window. For a split second, I thought I saw a silhouette tall, too tall, standing motionless before it vanished. The police arrived 15 minutes later, Jake pulling up right behind them. They searched the house top to bottom. No one was there. No forced entry, no footprints, nothing disturbed except the chair and those scratches. The cops chalked it up to a prank, maybe someone sneaking in earlier and hiding out. But they couldn't explain the voice or the handprint. Jake swore he hadn't told anyone I was home alone, and none of our friends owned up to it. We stayed at Jake's girlfriend's place that night. I didn't go back to the house for a week, and when I did, I found something that still keeps me up at night. Tucked under my pillow, folded neatly, was a piece of paper I'd never seen before. On it, in shaky, uneven handwriting, were the words, "Next Halloween." I moved out the next month, but every October 30 honest, I lock my doors, turn on every light, and pray I never hear that knock again.